Hey, it's Chuck here. This is the Hawthorne Village report for April, and so you'll notice a bit of a change. What we used to do is do the report at the end of the month, and then the problem with that is the stats come in for March, so we were waiting a whole month before we were reporting on them. Now we're looking at the first week or two of the month, and we're going to show you everything that's happened through March and the months before. So this is, like I said, the April version, and so we consider Hawthorne Village to be these parts right here, bridging over that sports center. And there's some new stuff up here, but we're just going to wait until that becomes a little bit more developed before we really start analyzing the stats. And the other thing here that you haven't seen in past reports is that we added a new team member. So there's 4 of us now, all full-time. And so Jennifer has chosen to come on board, and we're very, very happy about that. So by now you've probably seen that the report is not designed to pinpoint a value for you, but it's designed to get you a general feel for how the market's doing, and even through the availables, maybe show you a little bit about what's currently for sale. So this graph, to me, is the most important page in the report. And so the seasons of real estate typically are December, January, we get that Christmas season. We start peaking up through February. March, actually, historically, is not a very strong month. It tends to dip, and then we get into that big season in April, May, June. Now, we're heading into that season now. And I think if you're thinking about listing, there's some interesting things that happen because the number of listings go up quite a lot, and what you're hoping for is the number of buyers also go up that much. And so then we get into the end of the summer, and then it slows down a bit, and then we find that we have a little bit of a hump in the fall. So a couple changes that happened recently. On March 18th, we had 2 different rule changes in real estate. The first one said that now you can only get a 30-year mortgage instead of a 35-year, unless you have a lot of equity, and then you can find lenders that still do 35 and even 40-year amortizations. Now, effectively what that does, if you are a first-time buyer and you were basically stretched to the limit on a 35-year mortgage, so your payments were as low as possible and you stretched as far, and you capped at $300,000, with the new rules, you can now cap at about $280,000 on a 30-year mortgage. So it does lower purchasing power, and we haven't seen a significant effect yet, although I think there's been some change in the market. It's like when you have arthritis, you can feel when it's going to rain. And when we're in the market, we're starting to see signs of stuff happening. The other thing that happened was you can only refinance up to 85% of the value of your house. So before it used to be 90. So if you had a house that was $400,000, you just had to leave $40,000 in the house, and you could skim the rest off the top and take it out and do a refinance. So now you'd have to do $60,000 that remains in the home, and you could take the remaining out of there. So the government, in a smart move, I think, because if they started playing with interest rate, that affects a lot of things. This is a little bit more isolated towards home ownership, and so what it's designed to do is just keep everybody a little bit more conservative, scale it back just a little bit. And I think it was an excellent move because there was a report that was released late last year, and it said that Canadians actually have more debt than Americans, and that was a huge wake-up call because Canadians, we've always thought of ourselves as being, more responsible and, oh, those crazy Americans, but we were falling into some of the same pitfalls, in many ways worse. So anyhow, good. I think that's overall a good thing, but it may affect the market a little bit. Interest rates are coming up a little bit later this week, and according to 3 different mortgage people who've told me, that can affect purchasing power quite a bit, and we've talked about that in past videos. So townhouses, going right into the stats, 29 active, 29 sales, 100% of them sold, extremely active. Average and median price are floating around the same place. About 99% of ask is what they were getting. Same with the semis, 20 listed, 20 sold, a little bit higher price point here. So anything under 400 is almost a completely different market than the stuff over 4, over 5, over 6. And obviously Milton has always been fueled by the first-time buyers. Now, one of the things that is important to remember is I see a lot of people that I think are selling themselves short. So if the last home sold for 340 and you have a very, very similar home and it's sold in like 2 days or it's sold for more than asking, then I don't think you have any business listing for 340. I think that a lot of people are selling themselves short. And so if 100% of the homes are selling, the real question becomes, what are you going to sell for, not if you're going to sell. So put the bar a little higher. See if you can do it. Get the right marketing behind you. Get the right staging. Everything that's important to a very profitable sale, get it behind you and then really work that system, because obviously there's demand there. So I see that a lot, and I've told people, they're like, no, we need to list here. I said, no, trust me, go higher than that. You'll do it. And we have. Okay, so detached homes, we've got, now this is a bit different here too, 59% sold. Okay, so it's almost flip a coin. If you have an average agent, flip a coin. You might sell, you might not. You get somebody good on your side that gets you the right advice. It really does matter. And it's still pretty tight on the average percent of list. Okay, so if it's listed for $100, it's going to sell for 99 is what that's saying. Okay, so average and median still pretty close. Now, what we see here is the last month, March. Okay, so very good sales activity. The average price was 403, okay, but the median price, so out of 100 sales, right, if there were 100 sales, they take the midpoint at number 50 and say, what's that number? So you can see that most of the activity happened in the lower price ranges. Average days on the market was 16 and the average list price 99 days. Okay, so 16 is extremely low, and year to date we're at about 19. So there's some nice things that people have said about us in this report. And then there's a section here that says what they're currently listed for. And the caveat here is that list price has absolutely nothing to do with sale price. Okay, so they're completely different here, but it does give you a sense. I mean, obviously if it's in the ballpark, and then if you do see the sold sign come up, you can always ask us what did it actually sell for. That's what we're here for, is we're your concierge for Hawthorne Village house prices. Okay, so a whole bunch of stuff here. I think about 13 pages of stats. And then there's a last page, and it just says, here's 3 easy next steps you can take. Okay, so the first one is you can do a pinpoint price analysis. You can have us over. And I always like to quote prices in terms of the price it'll sell for in 30 days, in 60 days, and in 90 days. So you can really plan for that. And what we even do, because there are some people in my industry that tell you what you want to hear, not the truth, is I'll guarantee in writing to sell the home at the 60-day price if you choose to go ahead. Now the second thing is that we do a room-by-room review. Okay, so we're going to point out the lowest cost, highest improvement. I have 3 categories I look at. The first one is the must-do, and what that means is that you're getting a 5-to-1 return for every dollar you spend. You spend $10, I want you to make $50 or $100. You spend $100, I want you to make $500 or $1,000. And the second category is things that you break even on, but they're going to make life so much easier for you when you sell. And then there's things not to do. That's the third category. And I have people all the time say, Chuck, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Don't do it. Okay, so there's things that belong in that category as well. And so it takes about an hour to go through that. And the last thing is our silent market of homes. I do a video every day, Monday to Friday. It's at miltondailyhomes.com. The password is awesome. And so I have 6,000 people in our email database, and I can oftentimes sell a home without even putting it on the market. I do it every year. I've got a database of past clients, hundreds of them that live right here in Milton. So I have, a great resources at my hands that I can really showcase a home, and oftentimes I'll get some leads on some buyers. So that's going to save you time. It's going to save you some money. And what's the harm in trying, right? If you tell us a bit about your house, that's all we need to know, and then we'll keep it in our little black book. So anyhow, that's the 3 things. That's the report for this month. And feel free to check out the sales. I'm going to put them right below the video. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out and let us know. Okay, have a great day, and we'll see you next month. Bye.